Hi guys, I'm Woodcraft Hamster and I thought I'd do another episode in my revisiting firelighting series. And what I want to talk about today are these. Now these are Firesteels and I've got two of my kind of preferred or favoured ones, whatever you want to call it. The first one is this, which is a slightly smaller one, made by Schrade. Comes with little piece of cordage to hold on a purpose-made striker, which is actually a really nice striker to use, this one. And it's quite a thin fire steel. You can get replacement steels to go into this handle, they just screw in, and I've probably bought about 3 of these now. They do wear through relatively fast, but you'll certainly get a good 3 to 4 months of really solid use out of it. You know, if you're only sort of a sort of infrequent bushcrafter, and then you'll get them to last a lot longer. The other one is this. Now I've had this one for several years now. I don't know the manufacturer. I got it for a little army surplus store. Nice little antler handle, or I assume it's antler, it could be fake, with I think this is something like a 12 or a 14mm fire steel in it, and I've been using this regularly for a long time now, and although you're starting to get some indentations and some wear in it, it's still pretty good. And coupled with that, I've put a little breakable keychain on there, and I've got a little small buck folding lock knife, which makes a really good striker, and it means I've got a knife with me as well. Now what I thought I'd do today, seeing as I've got my GoPro and I can do a little bit of sort of slow-mo footage on there, I thought that's exactly what I'd do. So let me move the camera around a little bit, and I'll show you where we're going to go from there. Right then guys, firstly I just want to apologise in case there's a lot of background noise. It's quite busy around where I am today, so you might be picking up some stuff from behind us. And what I wanted to do to start off with was just to sort of talk about technique for using a fire steel. Now there are several different ways you can do it. I've got a couple of preferred which I'll show you now, but essentially if you've got, and I'm not going to light this just yet, but if you imagine you've got your tinder here, and you want to throw some sparks into it, there's a couple of ways I find that which are best to do. So the first off is you can take your fire steel and your striker, you can actually put it on top of your tinder and you can just strike downwards just like that. The second way, and if you've got a very fragile tinder, I find this works better, is you can actually have it just above, and if I move this out of the way, you can actually pull the fire steel up, keeping the striker in place. So in the first method you're moving the striker, and in the second method you're moving the fire steel itself. And those are really the only 2 ways I tend to do it. I mean, you can, if you're in poor conditions, you can scrape off a little bit of the ferrocerium rod and then strike down, and it will basically give you a small little pile of combustible material. So those are really the ways that I would go ahead and do it. Now what I thought I'd do while we're here, before I give you the demo on sort of just lighting a piece of cotton wool tinder, I've got my GoPro here as you can see, and I thought I'd just do a couple of strikes with each of these fire steels, just to give you a sort of a bit of a slow-mo demonstration. I just thought it might be something that looked quite good on camera. So I'll use the smaller one first. So I just start this going, and I'll just do a couple of quick strikes, and I'll do a slow motion version of the best looking one. So that was this one, and I will cut in just a second and show you the slow-mo version. And now what I'll do is the slightly large one, and this one does fire off quite a few more sparks, so we'll see if that looks any better on camera. And then finally, what I wanted to do was basically just show you lighting a piece of just standard tinder. Now I think a lot of us probably use something like this, which is cotton wool. And as with any kind of fire lighting, the most important part is preparing your tinder. So it's something like this. I mean, cotton wool generally lights first time regardless, but to give yourself a bit of extra help, if you like, what you really want to do is kind of rough it up, get a lot of air in between those fibres, and then all you'll do, and I think I'll record this as well just because it'll hopefully look a little bit interesting. Now I'm going to try, rather than bringing my knife down towards the tinder, I'm going to try throwing some sparks on it first. Hopefully that'll work first time. And there you go. And that really is one of the sort of the most fundamental and the most simple fire lighting techniques that I know that most bushcrafters tend to use.